to our YouTube channel. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and let's interact in the comment section. So I am here with my son. Yes. So I'm just going to continue the segment where we were talking about adoption, and the last video I did about adoption, I was telling you about adoption requirements in Kenya, the things that you need. Okay, now that you have the things that you need, you've gone to the agency and you picked up the form, and now you are returning the form. So after you return the form, there is an interview that they will be conducting at the center or in their offices, and some of the questions that you are being asked is so that they can know you better. So if I can say what the form entails, the form, you just fill in your details, where you live, what you do, how many children you have, and the age bracket of the child that you wish to adopt, and the gender. Then there is also a medical form where you need to go to the hospital, they do some tests on you, and then you return back the form. Yes, even HIV positive people can adopt, but the doctor must write how you are doing with your drugs, maybe how you are, because some people don't adhere to their drugs. So as long as you're taking your drugs well, it is okay. Then you return back the form. There's also another form where your pastor or spiritual leader can sign, and also your employer can sign. It's just a recommendation. You can choose your employer, you can choose your pastor, you can choose someone who knows you. Then they also have a form of the guardian, the person who will be in charge in case of your demise. They can look after the child, or they can protect the interests and rights of the child. So the guardian part, after they sign, you have to attach copies of their ID. And also most agencies prefer couples, but you don't have to have couples, so there should be two guardians. Then they conduct the interview. So the interview is not so difficult. They ask you just the basic questions. They ask you about your income, they ask you how you spend your money, how much rent do you pay, is your house owned or rented. They ask you if your children go to school, they ask you how much you pay for school fees, and how much, just your estimated expenditure within a month. And they also ask you why you wish to adopt, how it came to your mind, and the reasons as to why you are basically adopting. It's more of a personal question where they are getting to know you, but now they are writing it in form of a narrative. So it's like what has been captured in the original form, but now they want to write it down as you say them. So they will break down all the details you say, your rent, your expenditure, electricity, water, school fees, and all those sorts of things. Then they add them together. I don't know whether they'll go and look at your income, because when you attach the form, you must have the financial proof. It can be your bank statement, it can be your M-Pesa statement, it can be the assets that you own, it can be the business that you have, just a financial proof. So I don't know if these details that they take during the interview, they are go and check at your income. I still don't know that one yet. I'll find out. But they just ask you about yourself. Then they ask you about your family's reception. Of you adopting, are they willing? The people you stay with in the house, the children, your spouse, are they aware that you are adopting, and what's their response, or how did they react to it? Such kind of questions. And they also ask you about your extended family, your mom, your dad, your sister, your uncle, your brother, and all the people that surround you, that will be surrounding this child. So they ask you their response about the fact that you are adopting, because remember, adoption is for the best interest of the child, not your only interest. You may have a passion for adopting, or you may want a child, but you should be adopting for the best interest of the child, to give a child a home, and also to protect a child who doesn't have a family, who doesn't have a mother, a father, a sister, a brother. So you are going to take this child, you bring them to your home, and you really want to protect their interest. So it's on the interest of the child, not your own interest. That's why they ask all these sorts of questions. And one thing that I also noticed is that most adoption agencies are very friendly. They are willing to help, even in a place where you are not sure what you are doing. They just make you comfortable. And most of the time, they conduct the interview after the pre-adoption counseling. You first go for counseling, then after the counseling is when they do for you the interview. Hold on a second. Yes, so after the interview, you go through counseling session. If you've never been to a counseling session, this will be your first. But basically, the counselor will be able to work with you through the process and what to expect, what not to expect, your expectations and your fears, your everything. So with the counselor, you can discuss everything in your mind because it is confidential and they keep it with them, the session of the counseling, whatever, they keep it with them. So after you are done with the interview, then you go back home and you wait for the home visit where they will physically come to your home and check your home. So when they come to your home, it is not something that you are supposed to be scared of. Basically what they are looking for is whether you have a place for a child to sleep and a child to stay and a child to play. So they'll be asking you, they'll walk around, they check the kitchen, they check the living room, they check the bedroom, and they'll ask you where will the baby sleep, and where will the baby play, where is the toilet, where is those kind of things, the basic things that a child needs in a home. So it doesn't matter whether you have a small house. So if you have a small house, you don't have to be scared that the baby will not have their own bedroom, no. Because you remember, this is your child. So you can always make arrangements. Even when you are having a biological child, you have to make arrangements. Are you going to go sleep, or the baby is going to sleep in their own bed? So you have to look at those factors. So those are the things that they check. Then after they check, the home visit doesn't always take long as people always anticipate. Some people get scared. They think the person who is doing home visit is going to take a whole day. No, it takes even 30 minutes, 1 hour is just enough. They just come, they check, they ask you questions, they just talk to you, then you can ask them questions also at that particular point. So after the home visit, then you go back, they go back with the report, then they compile everything that you submitted to the committee. Then it is the committee who will approve you. Then after approval, now you wait for placement. And placement usually takes a month to 3 years, depending on the age of the child that you selected and your preferences, because you will be asked. There are children who are over, there are children who have been abandoned, there are children who have special needs, there are people who are interested in adopting boys, people are interested in adopting girls. So depending on your choice, that will also determine the time of wait as you wait for placement. It is the work of the agency and the children's home to match you with a child. You don't match yourself with a child. So as you wait, after approval, you just wait for placement. And anytime you can be called. If there's a match, they just call you. There's a child, blah, blah, blah. Then they send you the picture. Nowadays, they use WhatsApp a lot. They send you the picture of the baby on WhatsApp. Then they tell you where the baby is. Then you can go for your bonding. Bonding is usually 1 week for people who are not adopting infants. So for people who are adopting infants 3 months and below, usually they can be allowed to come for a day or 2 or 3 days, then they take the baby. But who are adopting bigger children, like a 6-month-old, 10-month-old, 1 year or 2 year old, you can't just go and pick the child like that. No, you have to go get familiar with the baby's routine, and also so that you can start bonding with the baby. The baby will know you, so that when you pick the baby will not be crying loudly non-stop. So you go every day in the morning, you bond, you play with the child, so that the child can know you. So after you bond, after 1 week, then they give you a baby, then you take baby home. After you take baby home, you enjoy motherhood. You bond with the baby for 3 months. Then after 3 months, after 3 months now, you can start the court process. There are some questions that some people always ask. What if I don't bond with the baby? What if I want another one? Okay, it's allowed, but nowadays, Kenya, they put the agencies, I don't know if it's the agencies or the government, they put it into a law that if you refuse 3 matches, 3 different babies, then you will be considered permanently unfit to adopt. Because remember, these children have a background of trauma, of separation, and all those kind of things. So remember, when you take them, then you return them, then you are traumatizing them more. And now that will not be in the best interest of the child. Are we together? So if you're considering adoption in Kenya, good luck and all the best. Adoption is beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, remember to subscribe and let us interact in the comment section. Bye.